President Trump is knowingly going into a hostile environment on this very network, on CNN, with debate moderators who have made their opinions about him very well known over the past 8 years and their biased coverage of him.
My colleagues, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, have acquitted themselves as professionals as they have covered campaigns and interviewed candidates from all sides of the aisle. I'll also say that if you talk to analysts of debates previous, that if you're attacking the moderators, you're usually losing. Now you have people like Doug Burgum coming out and saying, well, President Biden's very accomplished, trying to set expectations in a different place. What do you expect from Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, it would take someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently frequently likened President Trump to Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you continue to
What happened to freedom of speech?
I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this conversation.
It's America, not Wakanda.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now,
I'm sorry, guys. We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time.
We are used to this in
Wakanda.
Wakanda.
At any point, she is welcome.
This case is about free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
So what is it that he did to try and switch the votes that you referred to?
What did he do?
By bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I will say that today, I don't feel very much like we are in America.
They are in Wakanda.
Hi,
They are in Wakanda.
The fact that I am standing here for the third time in 5 months is not a coincidence. This is the Biden political lawfare that we have seen time and time again. It is a deflection from everything that they have done. And if you don't believe me, look at the facts. On March 17th, Hunter accidentally admits that it was his laptop from hell. The next day, DA Alvin Bragg indicts President Trump. June 8th, an FBI document is released showing that the Ukrainians paid the Biden crime family millions and millions of dollars. The next day, the Mar-a-Lago raid and the Mar-a-Lago indictment.
Facts.
Last week, Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal fell through when the judge realized it had blanket immunity. The following day, a superseding indictment against Donald Trump.
And all this did not work. He won the election.
July 31st, Devin Archer goes to testify in front of the House. That was only after they failed to put him in jail prior to the fact. What happens the next day? The January 6th indictment that we're here for today. This is not a coincidence. This is election interference at its finest against the leading candidate right now for president.
And they did not succeed after spending $1.5 billion.
Is under siege in a way that we have never seen before. President Trump and his legal team and everyone on his team will continue to fight, not for him, but for the American people.
Trump's lawyer, she's a strong woman, right? McCuban, this is a strong woman.
You just laid out several examples of that. Any other thoughts that the president has communicated to you in terms of why this is going on and why he calls it a witch hunt?
I think a witch hunt is really the way that anybody should describe this, because it's not something we've seen in our time. This is not even political. This is beyond that. A witch hunt is when you relentlessly attack your opponent, when you relentlessly attack the thing that you are most afraid of. People are afraid of somebody that cannot be bought by Washington. People are afraid of somebody who is independently wealthy and who has given up his good life to fight for this country. And that frightens a lot of politicians who are career politicians, unfortunately, because he'll get back there, and I know he'll be fighting for every one of us so that this doesn't happen to us.
It's personal.
It's about free speech, but the special counsel says Trump could have disagreed with the results and talked about it. No crime there. The difference is what he did to try and switch the votes.
So what is it that he did to try and switch the votes that you refer to? By bringing cases, by using the law in an appropriate manner, unlike what we're sitting here today seeing. This is not appropriate. What President Trump did is he said, go patriotically and peacefully and protest. That is an American right. That is why we are America and we are not a third world country. Although I
We
will
are
say
not
that
Wakanda.
today, I don't feel very much like we are
Us
in
in
America.
Wakanda, that's
Yes.
how we do it.
Before or after the 2024 presidential election?
I think that every court needs to look at this as a whole, right? It's not about the January 6th case. It's about the fact that in the matter of a couple months, we have seen them try and tie up, and me as an attorney, I've never seen this, tie up one individual who's who's running a campaign, running for office for president, so that he is in court, in depositions, and distracted, so that he won't properly run for 2024. And frankly, it's not going to work.
Is the legal team going to argue that the election was stolen?
All this didn't work.
I don't think that that's the argument that needs to be made. I think that anybody that believes that is misreading this. The truth is, as an American, there were questions that he had regarding the election integrity. We've seen documents come out, we've seen documentaries come out showing that there were issues with the election.
It's fair.
And frankly, by bringing this, I don't think Jack Smith really thought it through. There only has to be proof that, number one, President Trump believed that this election was not completely honest. And number two, Jack Smith has opened himself up to a can of worms that we can now look at and really examine.
I'll go challenge the election as well.
Why not bring you to trial as soon as possible before the election so that you can clear his name?
Yeah, I would love to do that, but there's something called discovery. And when somebody wants to say that the 2020 election was perfect and that President Trump has no right to object to it, we've got to go show them all the facts. And there's a lot of facts to show. So everybody has their time. And to say that Donald Trump should then be rushed and not be given the same fair proceeding that anybody else is just, frankly, un-American. It's not fair. It's not the way our system works.
A lot of the lawyers who helped him try to overturn the election are unnamed co-conspirators in the indictment.
Can you believe this guy is naming someone's lawyer a co-conspirator? If Donald Trump didn't win, I bet you that America would have become like Wakanda. No, I mean, politics, just forget about it, right? No rights. Come on, we have more rights. I mean, we have not gone to this level. This is a whole new level. Is this what civilization is supposed to be? The so-called greatest empire in the whole world since the world began. And this is what you've descended into? Well, you may not know, but many people around the world, they are really happy that you're turning into this. So you better sort things out. If not, you'll become a big laughingstock in the world stage. Trump won anyway, so yeah, I think you guys have dodged the bullet a little bit.
Jenna Ellis isn't. Why do you think that is?
I'm not going to speak to co-conspirators or anybody else. I represent President Trump.
Let's go one more.
Alina, there are a number of, there's testimony and there's a number of aides that have said that the president was made aware that he lost the election and yet continued to argue that it was stolen from him. How do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think that everybody was made aware that he lost the election, but that doesn't mean that that was the only advice he was given. As anybody understands what happens in the Oval Office, there are a numerous amount of advisors and politicians and lawyers, not just one or two, that are giving you advice and telling you what they believe is true. So he may not agree with Mike Pence. He may not agree with one of his lawyers, but that doesn't mean that there weren't other people advising him exactly the opposite. And the president has a right, as every one of us do, to listen to several opinions and make their decision.
I think so.
Hearing Hillary Clinton and Stacey Abrams argue their elections were not right.
Absolutely.
I mean, how in the weaponization on the DOJ didn't happen then.
No, of course not. But if your last name's Trump, it's very different. So Hillary Clinton could have a problem when she lost the election, and we could have a complete liberal meltdown, as we all saw. But when we have dignified disagreements, we take them to court. We say do things patriotically and peacefully. He's to blame for things that he did not himself do. And that's what we're seeing. Frankly, folks, this is not about that. This is about politics. This is about 2024. Period. The end.
Thanks, guys.
It didn't come to pass. It didn't come to pass. Trump won.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Another one. Another one.
I'm not here to hear what he has to say. That was what rang true, loud, and could not have been more honest, coming from the judge who has already predetermined that my client committed fraud before we even walked into this courtroom. I'm not
guilty
here
until proven
to hear
innocent,
what he
right?
has to say.
America.
Then why exactly am I being paid as an attorney, and why exactly are taxpayer dollars being used in this courtroom? The answer is very clear. Because Miss James wants to stand right here like she did this morning and call my client a liar, call the company fraudulent, and make a name for herself. She said this morning that the numbers don't lie and they won't lie in this case. Well, Miss James, I have a message for you. The numbers didn't lie when you ran for governor, and that's why you dropped out. And the numbers don't lie when President Trump runs for office in 2024. And those numbers are loud and clear. This country is falling apart. And if we don't stop corruption in courtrooms where attorneys are gagged, where attorneys are not allowed to say what they need to say to protect their clients' interests, it doesn't matter what your politics are.
How did America got here? I mean, if Trump really, like I said, I keep insisting, like, the whole world would have suffered, because this thing would have just spread like wildfire to all the countries. This was their plan all along. Okay? To do what they want without accountability. I'm glad the American people stood up for what is right. Yeah, in my opinion, that was just what was right. Because, I mean, when people in Wakanda, they say this, they don't want to come through Mexico and get into America anymore. They're like, come on, am I going into this system I've been like hailing for the past couple of, maybe the past 15 years. The past 10 years, everything has changed.
Everyone has a right in this country to get up and put a defense. I don't care who you are. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can put objections on the record. You have a right to hire a lawyer who can stand up and say something when they see something wrong. But I was told to sit down today. I was yelled at, and I've had a judge who is unhinged slamming a table. Let me be very clear. I don't tolerate that in my life. I'm not going to tolerate it here. And you know what? You shouldn't either. Because not every American citizen gets a camera and a microphone. And what I'm seeing is such a demise of American judicial system and democracy. Miss James came out this morning and said that she knew Mr. Trump, and she always calls him Mr. Trump because it kills her that he was the president. But the 45th president of this country, one of the best presidents we've had, has built a great company. It's worth a ton more than that statement of financial condition. And she doesn't know how to get out of it because her politics won't allow her.
I mean, these activist judges that in America, come on guys, what are you thinking? I know, you know, in America you have your mainstream media to spew all the propaganda so people don't know what is going on. But us from outside, I mean from Wakanda, I watch in my room and I already see, that's what she is doing. Because we're used to it in Wakanda, that's how they do it. Okay? You know, only a crook can recognize a crook, you know. Only a thief cannot recognize a thief. So when you guys do all of that thing, it's like, we know what she's doing. We just see it for what it is. And we are like, how come Americans, they don't see this? But, I was wrong. I must admit that I was wrong. The American people came out and they won the election for Trump by landslide. They're like, oh yeah, we've been seeing it. We've been watching you guys and we know exactly what you're doing. And now, yeah, that was a massive rebuttal. Landslide. The House, the Senate, presidency, popular vote. Wow, what a mandate. Anyway, what do you think about this Trump lawyer? How did she do, you know, throughout all this saga? I mean, she did great. She did great. I wish Mark Cuban would have, you know, watched the Wakanda news to see that Trump has got a strong woman by her side defending him in the courts. But Mark Cuban, well, he's locked up in America with the mainstream media, MSNBC, with Rachel Maddow. I think Rachel Maddow is, he looks like Rachel Maddow when he put on that glasses, right? So he's stuck there, but I encourage him, watch more of Black Coffee and you'll see great women like this in Trump's cabinet or circle, okay? Anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section below about the lawyer, Trump's lawyer. And let's see how this next 4 years will be. I know there'll be many confrontations. And the press secretary nominee, wow, she'll get the job. I can't wait. All the confrontations. with CNN, with MSNBC, all of them. It's gonna be some show. So I'll grab my popcorn now. I'll grab my popcorn machine and I'll just put it beside here. You'll be seeing me. I'll be venting it from here, just beside me, and you watch me eat my popcorn while all this crazy stuff in America unfold. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This is Black Coffee. See you in the next one. Cheers.